Hello folks, Jason Chrisman here, JC's Bees. You know, just last week I had somebody reach out to me and say, what do I do with a dead out? How do I go about cleaning it up? Today I'm going to give you a few pointers on that and kind of show you what you should be doing, some of the things that are a concern with any of your dead outs. Now, regardless of the size of your dead out, the steps are all going to be the same. So don't freak when you see I'm going to show a nuke and you've got a 10 frame colony. Okay, so what we have here is a single 5 frame nuke box that I tried to overwinter, and this particular one did not make it. The last cold spell did it in. So we're gonna pop it open, and I'm gonna kind of give you some guidance on what you should be doing with anything that did die over the winter. So we can see I had my notch pointing down for air to escape. We've got my sugar feeding rim, which I can now store back in storage till next fall. This dry sugar, it's actually probably soft enough still that it could be used to make syrup. So we'll set that over on the inner cover, like so, get it out of the way. And then we're going to pull out each one of these frames and see what we got here. You can see we got lots of dead bees up here, like they were coming up around the sugar to eat, in which case, yeah, they didn't get any of this drawn out. Here's another empty frame. So basically, they had 3 frames of capped food. No wonder they were relying on the sugar. So what I'm going to do is basically sweep all these bees off into a pile. Anything that's moist you want to set out in the sun and let dry so you don't get a mold problem. There, sweep all your dead bees off. A little bit of capped food right there. I'm going to sweep them all down into the bottom of the box, and then I'm going to have my bees taken to a taxidermist and have them stuffed so I can hang them on my wall. No, I'm just kidding. Here you can see a little bit of mold right there, and that was just because of the dead bodies holding in some moisture. So you get them dead bodies out of there. There's some more. Put them down in the box. I want everyone to go to the taxidermist. There's a lot of dead bees down the bottom of here. The taxidermist is going to be busy. So anyway, folks, there's not really a whole lot you can do. Sweep off the dead. Anything moist, you want to get it out of there so you don't have a mold problem like we've started to see here. But let me tell you, if you've got a little mold problem, like this frame here, for instance, with this mold growing here on the frame, I would not one bit slow down from sticking this in a healthy colony. They will clean all of that mold up and it'll look like a brand new frame. So don't think you have any responsibility yourself, but to get these dead bees off of there. And then the bees will do the rest. Okay, down in the bottom of my box, slide these frames out of the way. Here's all of my dead bees. So what am I going to do with these dead bees? Honestly, I'm not sending them to the taxidermist. That's just silly. What I am going to do is take this piece of sugar here, throw it over there, and the rest of these bees I am just going to dump out here on the ground. If you got a compost pile, that's a really good place for them too. Then I'm going to clean this bottom board off. I've mentioned this before, my chickens are gathering around here. Chickens have no interest in dead bees, and I've had people try and tell me the other way around, that chickens will eat dead bees. I'm not a believer. Not a believer. Now, here's something interesting. There's my screen entrance, or screen bottom on the bottom of this, and you can see they have propolised nearly 90% of it. I can see through a little bit right down here at the bottom. So you get all that cleaned up, clean your box out, any dead bees, put it back together, But this time, when you put it back together, until these frames are ready to be used, it's time to block the entrance completely. That way there's no robbing of any residual honey in the frames or nectar. And when you go to use these frames, either for a split or just to give them to another colony, you won't have any issues. Now you heard me smack that frame, and there's why. I already have a mahogany wasp landed on the frame. So what I will do is probably recoat this with some wax, recoat this portion with some wax, and I will reuse all of these frames. This here needs recoated on both sides. Actually, it feels like it has some wax to it, but I'll probably still freshen it up. All the dead bees are off. So there's not really that much to cleaning out a dead colony. You want to get all your sugar out of there, anything that's going to hold moisture, get your dead bees out of there, and plug up the entrance until it's ready to be used. So now I will take this, put back on there. I will have to discard this sugar, obviously, but you notice my entrance is now facing up. That way there's no robbing. So I will get rid of the sugar, close the box up completely, and I'll just set it out over there with the rest of the hives until it's ready to be used. What you don't want to do is leave your sugar in there or anything that's going to cause moisture to build up. And one thing that can cause moisture to build up is a handful of dead bees. The moisture would just suck right into them and it'll stay there. So get rid of that. That's about really all there is to it, folks. Regardless of the size of your colony, the procedures and steps will all be the same. Okay, so one of the other pointers that I did not point out in that video is if you have frames of honey, what you want to do, regardless whether you have 1 hive or 10, is you want to condense all of them honey frames into one box. That way you're able to protect it. If you have honey frames in 6 different boxes, it's going to make it a lot harder to protect them all from robbing bees and ants and all of them other pests. So condense them all into one box. There's a lot of different opinions on what you should do with these frames. I've had people tell me they freeze them. I've had people that tell me that they stick a lid on the bottom, a lid on the top, and they tape up all the seams so no ants can get in, and they store them in their basement. I've had people just tell me that they throw them into a box, a lid on the top, lid on the bottom, and they leave them out in the bee yard. So that's going to be up to your own discretion. Personally, I just leave mine out in the bee yard. Seal the box up the best I can and let it go at that. So there you go, folks. What do you think? Did you learn anything? You have any questions? If you do, leave those down below and I'll do my best to answer each and every one of them. If you enjoyed this video, throw me a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and click on that little bell so you can be notified when I release new videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Sunday.